being a state of shiflus, a state of lowliness, a state of self-deprecation, versus hanachas atzmusei, which I translated yesterday as putting yourself on the side. Thank you very much. L'chaim, 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 l'chaim.
Amen. It's a good thing there's not a different halacha, water and tea.
The verse says, the humble ones, or those who have suffered, will rejoice in Hashem. And our problem with this verse was, it seems that humility, when you're in a state of self-deprecation and lowliness, so you're able to handle things that happen to you because of your lack of self-importance, versus when you're in a state of joy, joy is about being emotional and feeling yourself. And we say when people are very happy, joy breeds excitement, and you want to be the BMOC, the big man on campus. You want to spread out, you want to talk. You may be a silent person, but when you're happy, you want to share and talk about yourself and what you're doing. So joy transforms the person who is silent and bashful and makes him the life of the party. But joy is about spreading out, expression, being in the center, versus that self-deprecation is the opposite. So our question was, how can the verse say that the humble ones will increase their joy? What does that mean? So what we began, the kernel, the essence of the idea that we're going to learn is that joy, real joy, comes from hakaras ha'emes. Joy comes from recognizing the truth. And the truth is that all the blessings that we have are gifts from Hashem, and it's not things that we deserve. And the more we appreciate the gifts that God gives us and how we aren't really in a position to demand, the more happy we'll be with what God gives us. That's a theme that the Maimer says. Hakaras ha'emes, recognizing the truth. So it's not that you are you feel yourself to be a shmendrik, you feel yourself to be a doormat, but it's you are able to put yourself aside for the sake and favor of the truth. The truth is that what you have is a gift of Hashem. And because of your realization that what you have is a gift of Hashem, that allows you to be happy with what you have. That's the basic gist of the first section, but we didn't explain it yet. So we're going to go into this and explain this and bring this home. To explain what we're talking about, not only is humility a vessel for joy, but humility causes joy. And it's exactly the opposite of feeling yourself. Feeling yourself, not only is feeling yourself not a vessel for joy, that means if you feel yourself, not only is your joy not perfect,
there's no room for joy.
But on the opposite, the feeling yourself is a reason for sadness. There was a tzaddik, he asked one of his chassidim, how do you feel? So he responded in Yiddish, ich fühl sich nicht gut, which literally means I don't feel good. But if you were to, that's what it means. The literal translation is, I feel myself not good. Huh. So the Rebbe said, as we feel, it's always sad. The reason, no, that's not, it's in the print, I'm not making this up, it's in the script. It's known the nature of a snake is to always be sad. And why is the snake sad? It's not because the snake is missing anything. It's not the snake is missing, it is lacking its sustenance, because its sustenance is always there. What's the sustenance of a snake? The snake gets its energy from the earth. And there's earth everywhere. So a snake is not upset about the fact that it doesn't know how to support itself and its family. The snake has plenty of riches all around it. The snake has its earth around it. Rather, the snake's sadness is natural to it. Why? Where does it come from? The very first snake, the Cashapp, which we know the serpent is the Yetzer Hara, is the evil inclination that convinced Adam and Eve to sin. What is the snake? The snake is feeling yourself. That is what the snake is. Snake is you're feeling yourself. And that's why the snake is always sad, because feeling yourself is a reason to be sad, even though it would seem that when you feel yourself, so you feel good things happen that happen to you even more, you feel you're good more, so it would seem that if you feel yourself, so if you feel good, you feel very good.
Right.
That's what you would think. You would think you're in the book. That's what we would think.
Yeah.
The good sign you feel you feel you're good more, so you should have been happier. But not only are you not happy, but on the contrary, feeling yourself is a cause for sadness. The truth is that feeling yourself does cause you to be happy. You feel the good you have very much. But that joy, but this joy, first of all, is not real joy. It's not joy. He says this joy isn't joy. And not only is it not joy, this joy breeds sadness. I'm happy because I have this, and therefore I'm very happy because I have something very good. So that happiness isn't real, isn't happiness. Not only is it not happiness, that happiness actually breeds sadness. And there's two reasons why it breeds sadness. Aleph, number one, the mishu b'gashas atzmei harimuta b'hus atzmei. Someone who feels themselves, someone who's into how they feel, and that is a emblematic of someone who is mistaken about who they are. The kshem shehu muta ba'toiv shaloi keinu muta ba'muhus atzmei. Just like you're mistaken about the good that you have, you're also mistaken about who you are. The mishu murgush hu toya hein ba'tei shabbat and tishmei beis. Someone who feels himself. Someone, it sounds like, everyone feels himself, right? What does it mean, someone who feels himself? Someone who is totally focused on themselves and how they feel. They're the center of gravity. They're the center of the universe. Someone who is, and I'm not saying this is an uncommon thing. This is a normal thing, unfortunately. But this is, if someone is in that state of feeling themselves, they end up making a mistake about themselves, and they make a mistake about their family, and about all their affairs. That he thinks about himself, that he is wise, he is a wise man, he's an understanding man, he's a knowledgeable man, he knows everything, he understands everything, and he glorifies himself in his deliberate behavior, and he prides himself in his knowledge, and his good understanding, and he prides himself in his voltan shang, in his perspective. So somebody who feels himself makes a mistake both about the good in himself and the good in his family. He thinks he is the smartest, he understands everything, he adorns himself with his good behaviors, look at me, and he thinks about how his knowledge, and he thinks about his perspective on life, because this is the way you're supposed to think. And even if he does not know Torah, nevertheless, he interferes when there's a discussion about Torah and a decision based upon Torah, he mixes into the conversation with arrogance. And if he does know a little bit of Torah, there's no end to his arrogance. He will speak about his own praise, and he will seek his glory. He will seek that his glory should be defended. And he'll speak about his greatness. And he'll speak about how great his family is, and their great virtues, and all of his affairs are so amazing. That everything that he has is good and beneficial. It's just hunky dory. We're not talking about being happy with what you have. Rather, because of his arrogance, he is mistaken about who he is, and he's mistaken about who his family is. The truth is, there's an absolute mistake. That he also has faults. So too do his children. So too are there mistakes in all of his affairs. And other people and other children and the other people's things going on, there's good there too. So his lens that he sees in himself and rose-colored glasses and his family and everything he does and the way he looks at things and his knowledge and his perspective, he thinks that's all amazing. That's his perspective because he feels himself to be this way. Because he feels himself, and he is the center of gravity. Therefore, he is. That's the way he looks at everybody. He looks at himself and his family as amazing, and he looks at everybody else, doesn't see they're good. But the truth is, he's making a mistake. He has faults. His family has faults, and other people have good virtues too. What's going on is, as the Talmud says, a person does not see a fault in themselves. And on himself and on his children, on his affairs, he looks with a good eye and he magnifies the good. And in all his faults, even the biggest kinds of faults, his love for himself covers those faults. And he's mistaken about his virtues. And he's mistaken about his goodness. He's mistaken about who he is entirely. And because of his mistake, he thinks he deserves. Like we see clearly by many people who are God-fearing, that they act with very, very frum, very religious. They act frum and they act in a beautiful way, both regarding themselves and regarding their family and the way they educate their family. Sometimes they influence others too. And certainly they influence their surroundings. It's great to have good friends. When you have a good friend, so that inspires others. If you're a friend of someone else and you're a good person, so that make that your friend also act differently. But among those people who are they're educating their family and they're doing great things and influencing others, among those people there are those making a mistake about themselves. To think, because of their good actions, because of their good behavior, they think because they act in such a admirable way, they deserve that God should treat them differently than others. God should give them blessing in nachas in their children, and in health, and in parnasa, in livelihood, in a totally different way than the way God treats others. They think that because of what they're doing, they deserve, because of their upright behavior, they deserve a lot. That although this is true, that their behavior is good, and sometimes not just it's good, sometimes it's really good, it's mu'ula, it's high quality. But that's the way it's supposed to be. And if it's not that way, there's a deficiency. So the fact that they're behaving in a good way, it's not a virtue. That's just filling a void. In other words, if they would not behave that way, that would be a deficiency. That would be some problem in themselves. The fact that they're showing up and they're acting in a good way, that's the way it's meant to be. They're just doing what they're supposed to do. They're not acting in a way that is excessively good. They're just showing up in what they're supposed to do.
You hear this, doctor?
I do hear him.
Okay.
But they're making a mistake.
He said this morning, do you hear me? He says, do I have a choice?
Right.
No, I said, here we go. Which I say all the time.
Okay.
Which means I've overcome my laziness and I'm going into the right direction.
So he's pointing out that your reaction, do I have a choice, is what I was talking about.
I know. I do understand it in the way you meant it.
Some people, when they do something good, they have this a theme song that's playing.
Yeah.
Yankel did a mitzvah. Yankel did a mitzvah. Look at Yankel, he's doing a mitzvah, right?
Yeah.
So Rebbe is saying that that's not the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be, you look at the things you're doing and say that's what I'm supposed to be doing. If you think that you're amazing about because you're doing what you're supposed to do, so that's what actually makes you sad.
Yeah.
Because you think like I deserve a whole different. Why is Hashem treating me the same as He's treating everybody else? I deserve far much more. I'm better than everybody else. I'm doing amazing things. So the Rebbe says that's because of you're looking at you feel yourself. Because you feel yourself, you don't get who you are. You don't get who your family is. You don't get what you're doing. You don't understand what's going on. They're making a mistake about themselves because they feel themselves. Someone who feels himself makes a mistake about himself to think he deserves. So therefore, whatever he has is not going to make him happy. People are happier about getting a present than getting paid.